Name's Trevon. I'm actually a real estate agent with Century 21, Mike Bowman in the Grapevine, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So I have a lot of people telling, that talk about, where is the value? Are we overpriced? Where do you see the market currently? But we're going to talk about price cut share, basically how many price cuts, the percentage of price cuts in the Dallas Metroplex. And if there's an area that you want, feel free to comment or shoot me a DM on Instagram or give me a call. And yeah, I'd love to help you out in that specific area. In the market, you're hearing a lot of talk. There's people that are on the far left, far right. We're crashing, we're burning, we're okay, we're thriving. And it just depends on where, right? Because if you look in places like Wise County, there have been a lot of price cuts. 29% of the listings have had price cuts. So the total inventory is 490, and out of that, 142 took price cuts. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the values are going down, because some people still are listing their homes super high. I get people that give me calls, and let's say they bought in 2021, 2022, and they spent, basically 30 to 40K over the market value for the home, or they spent, they bought a home at the asking price at market value whenever the market was really booming, and then they decided to add, 100,000 worth of upgrades. So they're now trying to sell the home with that price included. That's where you're gonna find issues, because sometimes people don't take the upgrades that you're adding as important. They're not making the upgrades that you're adding may not be upgrades to someone else, and I think that's the issue where that can come in line. Now, not all these are, overpriced. Just some of these areas are less desirable as far as where people are moving to now. So if we move over to places like Denton, it's not really. The price cuts have not been too hardcore. There hasn't been that many price cuts. I would say it's just a fair amount, because out of 3,000, basically almost 4,000 total listings, only 810 have had price cuts. That's pretty solid. And then if you move over counties that are really blossoming and where you see a lot of growth, like Collin County, the price cuts, there's been a lot less price cuts. So price cut share is 18.6%. That's pretty much the lowest in this whole entire area. And this is just going to give you perspective. So if you're looking in this Plano, McKinney, Frisco area, Allen, these are areas that people are really wanting to move to, and take that into account, right? Maybe you move quicker than other areas. There's a lot of these places, these outer bound cities, where they're taking price cuts. And then of course in the inner cities, Dallas, Fort Worth, Denton, Collin, it's happening less. And if we zoom in, we'll do Tarrant County. So Tarrant County, it's got a price cut of 24%. Pretty average. Pretty fair, because the total inventory is about 6,000, and the listing price cuts has only been about 1,500. And that just happens. Sometimes like I said, they overprice, and you have to eventually get a little buzz on the home, right? Sometimes they price cut it, not even really dramatically. They just do it just so it pops back up on those search bars and Zillow and stuff like that. But if we click Fort Worth, you see the active inventory growth, 66%, home price growth down 0.2% year over year, home value average 328, and median household income 77K, which is, things are rising as far as the price cut share. Obviously in 2021, there weren't a lot of price cuts. Now there's a lot more price cuts, and that's to be expected, because obviously in 2021, they were giving away money for free, basically, with low interest rates. And we'll click on, just for perspectives, we'll go to Collin County now. So Collin County, the active inventory growth up 33%. Home price year over year is down 1.4%. Fair enough. Home value average is 509K, and the median household income is 100K. And this is the same. The graphs are probably going to be identical everywhere else, because interest rates, that's really what I feel affects the full broad aspect of the market. I know that there are a lot of things that can change, right? And there's a lot of factors that dictate what you're going to pay for your home, but that interest rate is really what's crushing the majority of buyer. Just because the majority of buyers, they're getting home loans. Majority of buyers are getting an FHA or conventional, and they're having to fight that interest rate, especially if they're not really making a lot. Next, we're going to touch over home value growth. So if you see the blue is less growth, and then the red is more growth. So in some of those outer bound cities where we saw price cuts, you're also seeing more growth as far as the home values. And that's because infrastructure is coming that way. So like cities like Parker County, it had more price cuts than Fort Worth, and they're hard to compare. You can't really compare the two just because of how many homes Fort Worth has. But it just shows you that some of these areas are still growing year over year, and quite substantially. Last but not least, I want to show you some graphs that I at least found interesting. Metro, the Dallas-Fort Worth, Arlington Metroplex. We're going to do home value growth, and then we'll talk about inventory, and kind of just show you how it kind of correlates with the home values. So if you see the inventory here, back in 2020 when it really ramped up and you saw values just skyrocket in some of these places, we had an inventory about 19K in 2020. Obviously the pandemic hit, everything got pretty serious, and then inventory year over year went from 19K all the way to 6,000. Massive drop, right? And as you see that happen, what happens in 2021? Home values skyrocket. And that's just supply and demand. Of course, like I said, interest rates will affect this chart, right? But we're not going to talk about interest rates on this one. We're just talking about home value in regards to inventory. Home value skyrocket in 2022. What is inventory doing, right? Inventory is super low, and that would match up. So I'll show you in 2021 the effect of 2021. You're not going to see the effect until 2022, and that's when you see the massive jump in values going up. And then what happens? Homes sit, right? Homes are more expensive. People aren't just pulling homes off the market left and right like they were before. So they're sitting. So now you see in 2022, the inventory is now at 8,000. So it's tinkering up a little bit, And as you see with 2022, that's the peak. And then the key thing is here, this massive drop. So the inventory goes basically, it's going back up, because not only is inventory going up, but interest rates are going up. Interest rates shockingly rise in 2022. Not shockingly rise, but the pace and how high they went was shocking. And that scared a lot of people away, of course, the mainstream media too. At 2023, you're gonna see the inventory at its highest point in the last 2 years, and that's where you're gonna see a massive drop in the amount of home values. Because look, in some of these neighborhoods, there were only 2-3 homes for sale, and people were scavenging to get in these homes. And now in a neighborhood, there's like 15-16 homes for sale. Not all neighborhoods, but people have options. So if your home is not the gem on the block, people will look past it or wait for the value to drop, right? And that just shows you kind of how data works, how it correlates, and kind of how we look at it as realtors. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. If you want any more information on the Dallas Metroplex, Fort Worth, Collin County, I also can help you out if you're looking in the Austin Metroplex as well, Travis County. Just let me know. My contact information will be in the description. Just give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever is easiest. That way I can provide you information. Whether you're buying or selling, doesn't matter. We're here to always help, and I'd love to show you guys my process. Video today, we talked about home values, home value growth. We talked about a little bit about interest rates, and then we talked about inventory correlated to home value. Hope that helped you out, and see you in the next video.